Okay. Hopefully everything is working properly.
Okay.
Oh, that's not working properly at all.
Hopefully everything is
Hold on a
working
second.
properly. Okay.
You zip it. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. Obviously I have the stream going in the little uh, web window or whatever, and I didn't have the sound turned off. So now we're fine. What I don't know what to talk about first. We got a lot of things to talk about before we start streaming here, I guess. First of all, I still, much like last week, I'm gonna have to go lock up the chicken coop. It's just this is an awkward time because like at 5:30, it's maybe not quite dark enough that they're actually in bed yet. So they can wait a little while. So what I figure we'll do is I'll say whatever I want to say at the beginning. Maybe we can even go ahead and play one game, like the first game we're gonna play, and then I'll just take a break and go lock up the chickens and maybe also take a break while I'm gone. So there'll just be maybe like a 5 minute intermission or something. But so hopefully now you guys can see the stream in 720p. The reason you saw the stream starting and stopping was the output resolution of OBS wasn't set properly. So, which just gets us into. So, I'll just talk about this real quick. So, for anybody that was watched the stream last week, which I'm guessing was probably most of you, you know that we were supposed to do this Jaguar stream last week, but I had a problem with my hardware in the morning when I was setting all this stuff up. And for that reason I didn't even schedule a stream, and even right up until yesterday evening I was going to cancel and not do it. That's why I never scheduled it. I even said on Twitter stream is canceled, and then like 5 minutes later I said never mind, it's back on, because I figured out that I could plug in the Super NT, and so that's why we had a stream at all last week, was because of that. So what's happened since then? Because obviously now we're streaming. Well, you can't see it yet, but as you'll see, I've got the Jaguar all set up. So a lot happened in the last week. Some of you may know that if if you follow me on Twitter, then then you know what happened, and that is that I basically built a new computer, more or less. And when I say more or less, I mean that the computer that we were using down here was, of course, the Costco special that I got. It was like a $500 computer from Costco, and basically what I came to find out is that it was more or less like a laptop or something of not quite, but it came packaged as a tower, but really it wasn't a tower. And so I wasn't able to get it set up the way I wanted to. I mean, I don't want to go on and on about this for too long, but basically the whole reason I bought that computer is that I had I still have, a pretty expensive capture card that I bought primarily to capture DOS PC footage. But, I mean, it's just a very, very nice capture card, and so I wanted to start using it for the show. And so, but it's not really Mac compatible, and so I needed to buy a PC. And so when I got that PC at Costco, I turned the tower around and looked on the back and saw that it had 3 open slots. Like, it had 4 slots, and one of them was taken up by the graphics card, and it had 3 open slots. And so I just figured, okay, I can put my card in here. And, but I got it home, and I got it all set up and was using it with that StarTech USB 3.0 capture card. And that was working fine for our weekly live streams. And it was also working fine for capturing gameplay footage. And so I just never opened the computer and tried to install the card. And at least not until last Tuesday, when it became fairly clear that my StarTech device was on the fritz. And my backup plan was like, hey, let me throw this capture card in there. And I opened up the case and found that it only actually had one open PCIe slot. The other 2, you could see like the solder pads on the motherboard. But I guess as a cost-cutting measure for such a low-end computer, there was not an actual socket or slot soldered onto the motherboard. So and the one slot that it had was like a 1X, or is it X1? It was the smallest PCIe slot, whereas that capture card needs a 4X slot. So what I did, people are saying like, oh, Costco's good with returns. And yes, Costco is good with returns, but they, a few years ago, they started a new policy that you got 90 days on electronics. And I think that is because a lot of people were very much abusing the return policy and, buying a computer and just using it until it was obsolete and then returning it. And, because plus, like, these computers come with factory warranties. So if something's actually wrong with it, like, I think that computer I bought had like a 2-year warranty from HP. But so anyway, long story short, they wouldn't take the computer back. So I called Costco concierge. They wouldn't take it back. I'd had it for 5 months. So, no big deal. So what I did is I went on Amazon and I bought a new motherboard. I'm going to make a separate video, like doing a little walkthrough of this computer for people, so I'm not going to drag this out too much. But I bought a new motherboard. I bought a new case because it was a proprietary HP case. I bought a nice ATX case, and I was able to pull the CPU out of the old computer because it was a pretty nice CPU. And I pulled the RAM out. I pulled the hard drive out, but it's a mechanical hard drive. So in this computer, it's like the D drive, so it's just for storage. And this computer now is running on an SSD. But anyway, and I ended up actually buying a new video card, which again I'll talk about that more later. But and then I went ahead and put my nicer capture card in the computer. And but other than that, this system as a whole is all still set up the same way. So I'm still playing on the PVM. Output of that is going to the OSSC. And then the output of the OSSC is going over into our new computer. So yeah. And I noticed right before I started the stream that Ryan asked if I had a Jaguar CD. And yes, I have a Jaguar CD. I don't have it hooked up, obviously. And the reason for that is just that when I was setting this up last week, everything seemed like it was working fine, although I didn't really test it that much. And then I popped on the Jaguar CD, and that I kind of felt like that's when things went haywire, although that really doesn't make sense. I think it's fine. I think it's just in my head. But so that's why I have the Jag CD down here, and I already have a second power supply hooked up so that if we decide we want to play a Jag CD game, the only one I have down here that's really probably worth playing is Battlemorph, which was, I guess, kind of the sequel to Cybermorph. But, we could go ahead and pop that in, but we'll see. And, yeah. So I guess another thing, so I had the games I was planning on playing, but I'll just go ahead and show you guys what games we have. And that way, if somebody sees something that they think they want to see, then we can play it. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of really good games. Like, I don't have Rayman. Just so nobody gets disappointed, there's no Rayman. So I have Cybermorph, and that's actually in the system because that's the game we're going to play first because I want to talk about it. And I have the other launch title, which is Trevor McFur in the Crescent Galaxy. The label here is torn, but I have Raiden, or Raiden, however you want to say it. Another great game. I have Tempest 2000. Just in case anybody asks, I don't have the rotary controller for Tempest 2000, so we would have to just play it like the normal way. I have Zool 2, which I don't know anything about Zool 2, but people say it's good. And sorry, I haven't. I know I need to scroll up in the chat and everything, but I just saw that somebody asked if the games are curved. Who said that? Creative said, yeah, the games are curved. Well, the games, I mean, obviously the PCBs aren't curved. That's not possible. But the top of the cartridge is flat, but then the bottom of it is curved, which is very strange, but whatever. But yes, it makes it hard to stack them for sure. Like I have them, I keep my Atari games in a drawer upstairs so that I can have them sitting vertically. Anyway, just moving on. We have quite a few more here. Well, I have 7 more, I guess. There's one game I have that we can't play tonight because I want to play the DOS version, so I'm not even going to show it to you guys. I have Checkered Flag, which is terrible. But if you want, we can play it and make fun of it. I have Troy Aikman Football. Again, terrible. But we can play it and make fun of it. Supercross 3D, which I must have played it because I have it. But I don't even know anything about it. I'm going to guess it's terrible. But hey, I'd love to be wrong. Kasumi Ninja. I assume this is a licensed... oh yeah, it is licensed title. Maybe the only licensed title on the Jaguar. I'd have to think about that. Well, I guess Troy Aikman Football. White Men Can't Jump. Remember that movie? That was a fun movie, I thought. And then I've talked about this game before on the show. I don't remember where or why. But that game is Evolution Dino Dudes. Oh, and then last one. This is the only game I have that's complete in the box, which I don't even know where I got this. And I saw someone mentioned it in the chat earlier, is Iron Soldier. Trying to show it to you without the glare there. And yeah, and that's basically it. So, I'll just say it, but we're not playing it, so just don't get your hopes up. The other game I have is Wolfenstein 3D. And this is a great version of Wolfenstein 3D, but we're going to be talking about Wolfenstein 3D probably on the next episode of Flashback, and then I want to stream the DOS version, so I don't want to stream Wolfenstein more than once in rapid succession. So that one is kind of off limits. Just the one other thing I wanted to say real quick before we get started is I'm pretty sure I'm getting a cold. So if I get tired or kind of low energy tonight, or if I start losing my voice, it's just because of that. And I got some hot water. Don't make fun of my purple it's insulated. It's my wife's. So I could put some hot water in it. And then I'm not cold now, but I brought a sweater in case I get cold. So I'm just going to scroll up in the chat real fast to make sure I haven't missed anything. And then we're going to play our first game. And then, like I said, we're going to just take a break just so I can go do what I got to do real fast. I don't even know how high up I missed a lot of stuff. So there's more and more people are starting to come to these live streams, and the chat's getting kind of lively, which is awesome. But so if you ask a question and I miss it or something, don't feel bad about asking again. Like, I don't think I ignore anybody, but sometimes the chat's just flying by too quickly, and so I might miss something. So, oh yeah, Creative, you said my Christmas lights aren't on. Well, if you remember last week, I tried to turn them on, and now this half of the string is not working. I mean, the other half works. I don't know. Maybe it could act as like fill light or something. But that's pretty annoying because it's a pretty new string of lights, and I don't want to have to go back through here now and replace every single bulb and try to figure out what the problem is. So that's kind of annoying. But the basement was getting pretty disheveled down here because we had a little problem over in the corner. We had some rainwater leaking in from the outside, and I finally got that fixed. And so now everything is put back where it belongs, and it's nice and clean down here. And so now it feels a lot better being down here, with the exception of this Christmas light situation, which we're definitely going to have to address. So I'm just going through the chat here real quick again and just making sure. Ryan says, I could hold his lap chicken while I play. Well, so she's really not a lap chicken anymore. Ever since we got the new younger chickens that she kind of mothers, she actually doesn't really want to have anything to do with my wife or I anymore, which is kind of sad, but in the same way, it's kind of good for her so that she can go back to just being a chicken. Resident Evil 2, yeah, I don't... So, maybe one of you guys can tell me. I'm just kind of out of the loop a little bit. This Resident Evil 2 that just came out, is it just like an HD remake of the original? If so, that's cool. Speaking of that, though, now that I've got this computer with it's a decent video card. It's not a brand new video card, but I can actually play modern games now. I just today, I haven't even read it yet. I got the new issue of PC Gamer, just because it has Game of the Year awards for 2018. So I was just kind of looking for some tips for games to play, because I've been out of the loop with PC gaming for about 15 years. So like, I don't even really know what's good. Oh, Ruiner's asking what the graphics card is now. It's a NVIDIA GTX 1060 6GB card. So, like I said, it's not brand new, but it's pretty good for now. The main reason I bought it is that I might start trying to do video editing on this computer. So, in which case I needed a better graphics card anyway. And the one that came with the old one is a little bit of a weenie card. So yeah. Oh, and then I guess the last thing while I'm scrolling down here is the Jaguar, for being a top loading system, is a little bit finicky as far as your games being really clean. So I pre-cleaned the games that I know we're gonna play, but I brought down some alcohol and some Q-tips and kind of made a little cleaning station over here on the other side of the table. So if we try to load up a game and it won't play, I just have to kind of pop off camera real quick and clean it, and it'll be all right. So, all right. Anyway, so I think we can go ahead now and switch over the view, and I'm going to kind of retell my story about the first time I ever saw the Jaguar, which some of you will have heard before, but maybe some of you haven't. So that's a little bit too loud, I think. All right, I guess that's okay. So as you can see, this is Cybermorph. I don't know if it's gonna like let us see the. Yeah, I guess not. Let us see the title screen or anything. But somebody else can correct me. I didn't really have time to do a lot of research before the stream today. So my recollection or my belief is that the Jaguar came out in pretty late 1993, like maybe November of 1993, and so around that time where I grew up, we had two. There we go. There were basically two electronic stores, and I'm not including Radio Shack when I say that. Like two sort of what we now would call, I guess, big box stores, although I don't think that really applies to a specialty electronics store. But we had Circuit City, which, I think Circuit City was like a national chain, right? So if you grew up in America, I guess everybody had a Circuit City. But the other store that we had that I think was more exclusive to the West Coast was this store called The Good Guys. And, Circuit City, I think, at least my recollection is that at Circuit City, you could buy appliances like, washing machines and refrigerators and whatnot. But The Good Guys was really more of an audio-video store, and maybe even like a little bit on the fancy side. Kind of like a Magnolia, if anybody remembers that place. I don't know if Magnolia is still around. But so mostly I think The Good Guys kind of catered to like the home theater crowd, which, did I pick that up or not? Oh yeah, I got it. To the home theater crowd. And, I've talked about on Flashback plenty of times, sort of like, when I was growing up with my mom, we didn't have a whole lot of extra money to throw around. I hope I'm not ever given the impression that we were like, did that guy just ram me in the back? We weren't like dirt poor, but I mean, just, it was single mom and, solidly working class. So, I'm saying, like, I always had a roof over my head, and food in my stomach, although sometimes it was ramen noodles. But, and as we're getting into now on Flashback, I mean, I had a computer, although, it was an obsolete computer, and a lot of the parts that I had to buy to upgrade the computer, as we're going to discuss on Flashback, were stuff that I had to save up for, which is fine. So my point is just that we didn't have a lot of reason to go into a place like Good Guys on a regular basis, because like we certainly didn't have anything like a home theater or even like a console stereo at home. But on top of selling all that kind of stuff, the Good Guys did sell video games. And so sometime in like late 93, I'll just do them in order, these planets. And I realize I'm not even talking about the game yet, but I will, I guess. Anyway, sometime in like late 1993, my mom finally decided that she wanted to get a CD player. Because so like my mom was always really into music. Like she really wasn't that big into like TV. Like, we had TVs in the house, obviously, but we just weren't really big into watching that much TV. My mom was always really into music, and so she had like, we didn't have a stereo, like I said.
Good.
But what she had was just like a
Well done.
kind of bigger boombox kind of system, like a. This was like before shelf systems kind of became a thing. I feel like shelf systems were I'm gonna
Avoid
crash.
the ground. Where did you learn
Shelf
to fly?
systems were more like late 90s and into the 2000s, I feel like. Like before that, you would just buy a boombox that had like detachable speakers. And so like that's what my mom had.
Avoid the ground.
Yeah, I know, thank you. Avoid the ground. It's kind of hard to get used to the
Good
controls in this
work.
game, but so she had that. But it was nice enough that I guess it had like an auxiliary input kind of jack on it.
Ouch.
And so she at some point decided that it was time to upgrade to a CD player, because up until then she was just playing cassette tapes. And I guess the Good Guys must have had one on sale. And it was like a Discman, like a Sony Discman. So it wasn't like a console. It was just something that,
Where
she
did
could...
you learn to fly? Avoid the ground.
Hey, she said, I don't know if you guys heard it. She said, where did you learn how to fly? I know everybody's saying that in the chat. So
Good work.
so she bought this little Discman that she could just, buy and set on top of her system at the Good Guys. And so it was one of the few times that I got to go make a trip to the Good Guys. And they had a Jaguar kiosk
One more.
set up. And this was right around launch, I would say.
Avoid the ground.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. And so I got to play Cybermorph. And at least in my opinion, I don't know. I thought the game was pretty cool. Like, my friend Anthony always said on his podcast, back when he still had a podcast, Retro Blast, like, you really have to put games in their proper time and place. And, in 1993, think about what people were mostly playing on home consoles, unless you had like a 3DO. You were playing Super Nintendo and Genesis.
Avoid
And
the
all of a
ground.
sudden you get to play a game like this. And I don't know. I guess saying that, I don't know off the top of my head, somebody else can look it up, when Star Fox came out. Because I guess probably if you had played, whoops, missed the portal there. If you played Star Fox, then maybe this game wasn't like super impressive. But I didn't play Star Fox back then. I just remember for me, like while my mom was over doing all of her business with the CD player, I sat there for a while and just played this game, and I thought it was pretty cool. And that's coming from somebody who had a computer at home, and by this time I was probably playing X-Wing. And I'm getting mixed signals on when Star Fox came out, but if I was playing X-Wing, then obviously that makes this game seem maybe a little bit less impressive, but I still thought it was cool. I think a lot of people bag on this game because they think they're playing some kind of like combat flight game, when really the point of the game is more to fly around and pick up these yellow pods, as you saw. And, you do have to shoot the enemies just because they're in your way or whatever. But if you're playing this game and trying to do combat, then you're not going to have a good time. And I'm certainly not doing a very good job of showing the game off, just because I'm trying to talk while I'm playing, and I'm not really too used to the controls. So yeah. So I'm gonna put the controller down for a minute and take a sip of this and check the chat real fast. Yeah, you have a shuttered Circuit City. I don't. We don't have any shuttered Circuit Cities even where I think most of the buildings have been torn down. Adam says I used to go to Good Guys all the time. Well, if you don't mind, Adam, where do you live? Like roughly, like you can even just say what state. And I know I've sent you, at least I believe I've sent you a postcard, but I just don't remember off the top of my head where it was. And someone's saying Circuit City was like a Best Buy. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Back then we didn't, considering it was a pretty good sized town. We actually didn't have a Best Buy. I didn't know Best Buy was a thing. We got our Best Buy in like 98, 99, maybe 97. I don't remember. And then, yeah, JL Draw says, still living well above the poverty line. Well, yes and no. I mean, to be honest, we lived with my grandma and lived basically rent-free with her. And I think that was the only reason that we were. Like, technically what my mom made would have put her below the poverty line, except that she didn't pay very much. I mean, I think she paid the electricity bill or something at my grandma's house, but that's pretty low. So the fact that we lived with my grandmother really allowed me to have a higher standard of living when I was a teenager. Like, if we were living just the two of us on our own, there's definitely no way I would have had a computer or a Sega Genesis, really, because my mom bought me both of those things. And I think I missed somewhere above, somebody asked me if I had sausage for dinner. And no, but I had sausage for dinner last night. Oh, that's funny. Adam says this game shows how cool I am. I don't know about that, but AVGN went insane every time she said, "Where did you learn how to fly?" Well, yeah, but that's kind of his thing, right? He's the angry video game nerd, so I mean, he has to go insane a little bit. But like I said, I just don't really mind this game. Like I said, I'm not doing a good job playing it, just because I'm trying to play it and talk. But it's probably not saying much, but it's actually one of my favorite Jaguar games. Or as somebody said there, if you're British, Jaguar. And so, yeah. And, so Chad wants to know what I think of the controller. Well, I'll use that as a springboard to mention that I actually have the Pro controller, which is a 6-button controller, which I guess is a little bit more rare, and these are a little bit pricey. I know I've mentioned, and I'll go ahead and get back to playing the game while we're talking here, but I mentioned before where I got this Jaguar, I know, but this has crucial weaponry pods we must rescue. Shoot the snap. Oh yeah, I remember this level now. So I originally bought a Jaguar back in the late 90s, and I ended up trading it away to somebody for TurboGrafx, which to me is an excellent trade. But this Jaguar I actually got here in the town where I live, which is pretty crazy just because I live in a pretty small town. And I'll put it this way, like, I live in a small enough town where if I want to search for, like, video games or something on Craigslist, which I don't really do that much anymore just because there's really nothing here to find. Ooh, dead. I just look for everything for sale in my town.
Good work.
And then I peruse everything just because if you just look at the video games, you're not going to hardly see anything. And so somebody was, hey, come back here with that. Somebody was selling a Jaguar, but they had spelled it wrong. They spelled Atari wrong. It was probably a typo. They wrote ATATI instead of AT or ATATI instead of ATARI, right? Yeah. Sorry, I'm feeling kind of stupid tonight.
Well done.
So it said like Atari Jaguar with CD, and and the thing is the post was like days old, and even being and it was in the wrong category. Like it was in the electronics category instead of the gaming category. Like big deal, right? But you get a lot of these eBay reseller types and whatnot. Who keep an eye on Craigslist, because they're looking for stuff to flip. but I guess they weren't. A, they probably weren't paying attention to the electronics section, and B, like I live like probably like a, I don't know, like a good 25-minute, 30-minute drive away from like a big metropolitan area, which is probably where most of these flipper types live. And so if they wanted to buy anything that was for sale out here, it has to be worth their time to drive all the way the heck out here. And so for that reason, this whole system just sat on Craigslist for days. Where am I going? What am I supposed to do with that thing? I'm supposed to shoot it? I don't remember, sorry. So, you know, I shot these people an email thinking like, well, okay, I can't collect that. I shot these people an email just figuring like, well, this thing's going to be gone. But it wasn't, because for all the reasons that I just mentioned. And so I went over there, and sure enough, it was a Jaguar with the Jag CD, and that's where I ended up getting a lot of these games that I mentioned. And I got the Pro Controller. And I want to say it was $120 is like what they had it. Liberate. Oh, there we go. Is what I think they wanted for the system. And I remember that, you know, I had like $100 in my pocket because I think I had to stop at like the ATM machine on the way to their house. And I think I already had like $20, and so I just had to go get 100. And so like the 100 was sitting in my pocket, and the 20 was in my wallet. And so I was like, oh, it's $120, right? And she's like, yeah, you know. And it was like, you could tell it was like the mother of like this younger guy who was like sitting at the younger guy was sitting at the dining room table with like his girlfriend or something. But I was doing business with the mother. And the younger guy certainly didn't seem like he was old enough that he had a Jaguar. So I don't know where this thing came from. And so anyway, I said like, okay, yeah, it's like $100, right? Or 120, right? And she said, yeah. And so I damn it. So I reached into my pocket, and it's game over, isn't it? Yeah, it's game over. Well, that was enough Cybermorph. So I'll finish my story, and then I got to run upstairs real fast. But so I took the $100 out of my pocket, and I go, okay, here's 100, and she just like interrupted and went like, oh, that's fine. And so I got it for $20 less than I thought I was going to get it for, so that was nice. And so to get a Jaguar that was in perfectly good working condition, a Jag CD again that was in perfectly good working condition, a Jaguar Pro Controller, and you know a handful of games for $100 is a screaming deal now. And this was only maybe 4 years ago, so it was a screaming deal then too. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, that's the story of how I got all this stuff. So that being said, I'm going to run upstairs real fast. It'll just take a minute. And I'll be right back, and we will load up the next game. All right, see, that was pretty easy. I just got to put my my basement shoes back on. By the way, I saw that somebody said when the stream first started that I look like Bob Vila which I don't know. I like Bob Vila, so I certainly don't take that as an insult. I don't know. I guess, does this look like a flannel shirt over the stream? It's not, but I can see where it would look like that over the stream. So yeah. And then I'll go ahead and scroll up again. I don't want to go too far, I guess, but somebody asked if I have Tempest 2000. Yes. And that was one of the games I was planning on playing. So basically, the games I wanted to play tonight were Cybermorph. I wanted to play a little bit of Trevor McFur just to kind of show you guys how disappointing it was. And then I was going to play Raiden and Tempest 2000. If anybody saw one of the other games that I showed and says, oh, I want to check that out, then just let me know and we can check it out. I just really want to try and stop the stream like around 7:30, 7:45, so like, you know, another hour and a half, basically. Speaking of which, I saw some people mention it. They like that the stream is a little bit earlier. I understand that this works better for you East Coasters. And for the foreseeable future, meaning the next couple months at least, this is probably what time the stream is going to be, is 5:30. So I know that's probably suboptimal for West Coast people because you're just barely getting home from work, maybe. And I do apologize for that, but at least for the coming weeks and maybe months, this is really a good time for me to do the stream. So, oh, and somebody else wants to know if I have Battlemorph. Yes, if we want to hook up the Jag CD, maybe we should just do that now. Since we just played Cybermorph, we could check out the sequel. And then that way, if the Jag CD fries the whole shebang-a-bang, then well, I guess that'll mean stream over. But I don't really think it's going to, so I'm not worried about it. Jaguar, yeah. Some people say Jaguar. Some people say Jaguar. If you're from Great Britain, like I said, you say Jaguar.
Well done. Portal now open.
Oh yeah, Adam, you're the Modesto guy. Thank you. Yes, makes sense. So yeah, then yeah, you would have had good guys. So that's pretty cool. All right, I'm almost caught up. Okay, people are saying Battlemorph. All right, yeah, let's just, like I said, I think so. Battlemorph, I guess, is somehow, it's not the sequel to Cybermorph because it's a totally different game, but somehow it was kind of billed that way. So I'm gonna have to just shift over here just real fast to get it hooked up, and it's just going to take a minute. So, I mean, for anybody that maybe hasn't seen a Jaguar CD, so people say that it's like a toilet, like when you hook these together, it looks like a toilet. I don't know about that, but so this is the Jag CD. It pops open this way. It was made by Philips, if anybody cares, and it was basically meant so that if you got a Jag CD, you could hook it up and never really need to unhook it because it goes into the cartridge slot. It has the cartridge slot connector, so it sits in it, and then it has a cartridge slot on top. So like I said, you don't need to ever unhook it, really. One thing I don't know, because I've never tried it, is I don't know if you have to have the power input hooked up to the Jag CD if you're just playing a cartridge game, but I guess, I mean, why wouldn't you just leave it hooked up the whole time? So, and I see, what AV cables am I running? I actually have, I'll move it this way. I mentioned when I did that read-through of that Die Hard Game Fan magazine, I mentioned that I went over to that guy Tim Lindquist's house and bought some stuff off of him. And one of the things I was able to get from him was a official, first party Atari Jaguar RGB cable. So that's what it's hooked up with. We're actually playing in RGB, which is pretty awesome. And so again, it's going through the upscaler and whatnot, like I already explained there. Okay, so anyway, here's Battlemorph. I'll put it in a second, but I just want to show you guys the packaging and whatnot. So here's Battlemorph. Maybe it's better if then it's at least a little bit bigger. So here's the game. It's got like a cardboard type case that you fold open like this. And then the CD is in a tray over here. And then you have an extremely thick manual, which I believe is just because it's in multiple languages. Yeah, it is. It's in English, French, and German. Spielanleitung is a game manual. Didn't know that one. And then I actually have the overlay for the controller. So let's go ahead and put that on. And so I'm going to go ahead and pop the CD out and get that going here. Hopefully it will load. Make sure that we get... All right, just a second. We're having some technical difficulties here, so hold on just a second. I cleaned the contacts on the Jag CD. I hope I didn't make it angry when I did that. So I was just blowing out the lint. I'm not blowing on the contacts like in that way. One thing I don't have down here is my deoxit because I took it upstairs. So if this doesn't want to load, I'm not going to spend all night wasting everybody's time. Oh, there we go. All right. We have made it happy, so let's switch back. Just so you guys can see, that's a pretty, I don't know. I think it's a neat splash screen. Maybe you guys won't think so. But, and then the game's loading. It just takes a minute. So there's nothing for me to push. I just have to wait until the game loads. There it goes. No memory track found. Oh, I think that's like a save game, I think it's saying. Like, we don't have a save game. So I'll just show, I don't know, for anybody that, doesn't know much about these. So like I said, is a Pro Controller. I don't want to flip you guys off. So it has a numeric keypad. All Jaguar controllers have numeric keypads. And then they came with these overlays that you put, kind of like the Intellivision, that you put on the controller there. And I don't know much about this game, so we're going to kind of struggle through it a little bit. So I'm just, I'll warn you guys now that however crappy I was at... Oh, I need to turn the microphone. However crappy I was at Cybermorph, this might be even worse. I feel like the audio is a little bit quieter on the CD. Transformation systems are functional. I figure we can check out it's full motion video, man. It's pretty cool. Press B to begin the game.
Welcome to the Battle Cruiser Sunderland. Start a new game.
Wow. Jerry said, listen to the intro voice. It sounds like Sean Connery, and he's right. That's funny. All right. New game.
Enter a name.
CGQ, of course. All right. We're going to do easy just because I've never played this game before.
Select a saved game.
That one.
Zephyr Cluster, Planet Panther. Welcome to the briefing room.
The cluster general has captured one of our spies. The map of the prison has been hidden inside 4 data pods. Recover these pods so the settlement can beam back to safety.
Good luck. Load weapons onto your war griffon. You can put one weapon in each bay.
It's still too quiet for me. I gotta turn it up a little bit. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Cruise bombs. Decoy.
What's the brief? Is that just going to tell me the same thing again?
Welcome.
Oh,
Be
yeah.
careful out there. Load weapons onto your War Griffon.
Okay, here we go.
War Griffon ready for launch. Stand by. 3, 2, 1. Launch.
I see RC 3883 says, do you have the Capcom 6-button controller for the system? If you're talking about the Jaguar, I didn't know that was a thing, so no.
Good luck.
Oh, she's back. Oh, they changed the controls in a way that I think makes it a little bit better. Yeah, I guess this is kind of just the sequel to the first one. It's obviously very similar. The ship looks a lot cooler. And as you can hopefully hear... oh, don't touch that. Now we have music, which we did not in the first game. So, where are we going? Where are these pods? If you see up in the upper right-hand corner, there's... is it that? Yeah, it's that. There's like the little map. And the yellow arrow tells you where the pods are. Which... Oh, that way. There's other arrows, though, and I don't really know what they do, so... Oh, I feel so lost. See, now I'm trying to play with the controls of Cybermorph, because that's what I was used to. That's wrong. Ah, there's another. What are these blue things? Is that something I can pick up, or is that something that's going to kill me? Hey. Crap, I just flew right underneath it. I keep speeding up. Are these not the right pods? Okay, don't touch the blue thing. I have to pause and check the chat. Maybe somebody knows better than I do. Ryan says he has to go shovel snow. I hope I don't miss Raiden. We'll wait. We can play Raiden later. Mujanga says do a barrel roll. That's right. If you hit one of the to one of the sides twice, you do a barrel roll, right? Or am I thinking of a different game? All right. What's on here? Okay, so with the keypad, we can select different weapons, toggle view, crosshair. You can turn the music on or off. I don't want to do that. Or you can reset the game. I don't want to do that either. So. That was not how you do a barrel roll. It's not the shoulder buttons either. Oh, you can use the 6 button. Well, the other 3 buttons to do other things. Ooh, I don't like that. Is there a first-person view? That'd be pretty cool. There's the exit, which we haven't earned the right to go to yet.
Objective.
Objective what? Am I done? That girl reminds me of I don't know her name, but you know the first Star Trek movie? There was like the lady who was bald You know? I almost feel like that. I think the developers of this game, like, ripped that game off. Or ripped that movie off. Alright, we need one more box. Oh, there it is, I think. Nope. That is not it. Did I pass it or something? Am I supposed to do something to that train? I don't... Like, shoot it? Like, I'm trying to follow the yellow arrow, but it seems like it's leading me to weird places. Oh, crap, there it was. There it was, and then there it wasn't. Oh, it is on the train.
Objective found.
I don't know. Oh, they're all on these trains. Now I get it. Sorry, I'm a little slow.
Shields low.
Alright.
Objective found. Enhanced scanning.
Great.
Shields low.
Do I still have all the things? I think so. Oh, trains carried. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, you can destroy the bridges. Well, that'd be interesting. Seemed kind of not that helpful.
Let's go home.
Alright, finally. Boy, that was terrible.
Approaching the
Yeah,
Sunderland.
V'ger.
Recovery system engaged.
Oh, Creative says the draw distance is a little bit better. Well, that'd be cool. I didn't really notice, but I wasn't paying attention that much, so that's cool. PC Engine Raiden is better. Yeah, you know what's even better is the PlayStation version on the Raiden project. Oh, people are talking about F1 without me, damn it. Yeah, the woman who became V'ger, exactly. Oh, Oh yeah, blow the bridges. Well, that's what I should have done, but oh well. Do I have Hover Strike or the CD version? No. Sega Dream says the plug gets pulled on the Virtual Console in a couple of days. Any thoughts or remembrances? No, honestly, I had a Wii. I was a little bit of a latecomer to the Wii, but I did have one. But I don't recall ever buying anything on the Virtual Console. I mean, I was in emulation at that time, so like I wasn't really gonna play Virtual Console games. Even kids I knew that had everything back in the day didn't have a Jaguar. You know, that's true. Like, I had, you know, these friends of mine when I was in high school who were like the kind of kids that had everything. And I mean, like, they had a Neo Geo AES, and I don't remember them having a Jaguar. I didn't know anybody that had a Jaguar. I have not watched the Domino Rally Bithead video. I'm kind of behind on my Bithead videos, actually. I haven't watched the last couple or three. So I need to. I still love Bithead. I just I haven't been watching much YouTube period lately. Anyway, so I don't know. Should we play another level? I'll leave it up to you guys. Do you want to see one more level of Battlemorph? I don't. Oh, well, I should say before you make your decision. Since we have the Jag CD hooked up, I do have one other game. I don't know if it's any good, but it seems like it might kind of be worth checking out. And that is Blue Lightning. That's the only other Jag CD game I have, unless you include VidGrid, which came with the system. Oh man, for Blue Lightning, I don't have the overlay. That's kind of a ripoff. Probably don't really need it though, so it's okay. Oh, Teresa, you missed it. I took care of the chickens, but I appreciate the reminder. Thank you very much. You know, the consequences for forgetting that are severe. Does anybody have a? Oh man, Zed says Blue Lightning is terrible. Well, that's too bad. It looks, you know, like so many games that are terrible. Blue Lightning looks kind of cool on the back of the box, but you know. You can't see frame rate from a still screenshot, obviously. So, okay. So that being said, we can play some more. You know what? I'm not even going to let you guys say it. I'm going to play a little bit more Battlemorph, because that was kind of fun. Oh, and the information that we stole saved the life of our top agent. That's pretty good. Yeah, Creative, I think we're going to check out. I want to at least pop it in, Blue Lightning. I mean, we have the Jag CD already hooked up, so why not? All right, what are we doing this time? The Cluster General has hidden 2 data pods in a cavern. They contain military secrets. Find and capture. The fact this is in a cavern is already making me nervous.
Load weapons onto your war griffon. You can put 1 weapon in each bay.
Oh, Sean Connery. Cruise bomb ammo. Throw that one in there.
You already have that weapon.
All right. Stay calm. Well, then we already have everything, so let's go.
War griffon ready for launch.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I forgot. Blue Lightning is also on the...
3, 2, 1, launch.
It's also on the links, and I have it. It's funny. I never made that connection, which seems really stupid. I don't have Highlander. No, sorry. Wow, look at that background. What was the other
Enhanced scanning.
What was the other little power up there? Oh, that's a hint, but let's take it because I'm stupid and I need it. Hint, roads lead to the tunnel entrances. Shoot red switches to open doors. That is a very good hint because I would not have guessed that. So we're just going to kind of follow the road here. And where's the freaking... I don't see no tunnel entrance. Maybe it's the other way. the road now. Alright, so we'll go this way. Ooh, it was going too fast. Oh, there it is. Alright. Oh my gosh, this is like Disneyland. Where's the red switch? Oh, it's here. Whoa, wrong button. I'm still stuck on Cybermorph buttons. Back up. There we go.
Access code found.
So what was that? Stupid tree. How do you stop yourself from just going back into the same tunnel again? Is this the tunnel I just came out of? I feel like it is. Yeah, it is. Turn around here. Go back out. But come on, you guys are saying this game doesn't look cool. Like, I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't make me want to buy a Jaguar, I guess. But, I don't know. I think it's pretty neat. This secret tunnel? God damn it. That must be an exit. Well, that doesn't make sense. It's pretty cool music too. It's got kind of a new age jazz kind of thing. Can't go that way. Is that still the one we just came out of? Yes. Dang it. Is it still entertaining? Then what's straight this way? Ooh, nothing. Oh, you can shoot the trees. That's not very environmentally friendly. I don't know where I'm going here. Guess I gotta... So there's a orange arrow telling us to go this way. Oh, there we go. Ooh, this one's brighter. I like that.
Access code found.
Do I just have to turn around and go back the way I came? It's like a Contra situation where you have to... You guys, there wasn't a switch, right? I don't know. I guess you have to go back out the way we came in, which is no big deal. Can we not go out the way we came in? Or do I just have to crash into that thing? Oh yeah. Ooh, look at that.
Objective found. Objective found.
Now we have to go back to the cave. But what are these things? Are they just points or something? Oh, it even had a little. It had a little icon on the map that tells you when something is a door. So that's helpful.
Let's go home.
Oh, we're done. Oh, that's wonderful. Of course, now we have to find a way out. Is there anywhere over here I can get I never saw a portal anywhere, but maybe now we have to go back into this. Oops. Crap, where am I here? Guessing now we have to go back in here. Go back out the other side. Yeah. All right. See, that was kind of fun. Come on. All right. So I missed some stuff in the chat. So let's check that out. Let's freaking keyboard out of the way here.
All crews stand by.
The
Mission
California raisins were cooler than the Noid?
complete. Nice work.
I don't know if I agree with that one. Not sure the Jaguar will have as much nostalgia as the VCS. Yeah, probably not. Although, I mean, the Jaguar actually has like a pretty enthusiastic community of fans even now. You can go look, like go to the Atari Age forums, and you'll see. And yeah, I should have talked about the Coleco Chameleon since we're talking about the Jaguar, but I don't really have much to say. Does anybody even care anymore? Jaguar version of Rayman is the best. It is, but I think the Jaguar version of Rayman is a little bit on the expensive side. So, and I already have it on the PlayStation, so it's just like there's not a whole lot of point in buying it. You know what I'm really waiting for is the guy that made the flash cart for the Lynx and also for the Neo Geo Pocket is working on a flash cart for the Jaguar. And I have his Lynx flash cart, and it's nice. So I'm kind of waiting for that. Minus 50? Ooh. That is Siberia weather. And then Burger says, yeah, I kind of was thinking the same thing while I was playing it right now, Burger. Especially, you know, when you're in the tunnels there, it feels like you're playing Descent, which is a game I played back in the day on DOS computer. So, when's a door not a door when it's ajar? Yeah, it's a good joke. DeForte's back. What's up, man? Thank you again very much for the contribution. And I take it that he's leaving. Can't stay. Well, thanks for stopping by at least anyway. And, well, I guess I wish DeForte had hung around just a little bit. Because I could have told him that next week I'm pretty sure we're streaming DOS PC, which I think he is going to want to be around for. I'm kind of waiting for Ryan to come back before we play Raiden. But, I mean, I think we played enough Battlemorph, so I'm thinking that maybe what we can do now is let's pop in Blue Lightning just to see how bad it is. And then after that, if Ryan's still not back, we can play some Tempest 2000. It'd be kind of nice to finish off the stream with Raiden anyway, so... and someone donated, $5.64. Well, thank you. Well, maybe he's not from the U.S. I don't know. Or I don't know. In any case, Jerry, thank you very much for the contribution. I appreciate it. Somebody said something about Wendy's. Maybe not. Oh, yeah. I like Anne Berlin a lot. Does Wendy's still have salad bars? We were talking about that at work today, about something kind of unrelated to it. But I was telling people about something about Wendy's salad bars, and both of them were like, oh, Wendy's has salad bars? Because maybe they don't anymore. I don't know. But they used to. And, oh yeah, Derek's excited about DOS PC. So that's good. So, I think I've said this before on the show, but ooh, that doesn't sound good. I always feel like an old man when I'm at work. Where did the case for Battlemorph go? Oh, there it is. I always feel like an old man when I'm at work because I work around a bunch of people who are all in their 20s. And in fact, my little assistant, or whatever you want to call her, she's 20. So she's pretty young. And today I made some just offhand comment about Johnny Cash. She had no idea who he was. Which to me, Johnny Cash is pretty famous. Like, how do you not know who Johnny Cash is? But she had no idea. And it's funny because she's really into music. And, normally she knows stuff about, like, older music. But, like, I played her some Johnny Cash, and she's like, yeah, I don't know this. I was like, well, I don't know what to do with you sometimes. But yeah, she is 20. So, I mean, I get it. But, that would be like me not knowing who the Beach Boys were or something. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and throw in Blue Lightning real fast, just to see, I guess to see how much it sucks. I don't know. Wow, look at those graphics. Looks pretty cool. Yeah. It's funny, I would have brought VidGrid down here, but it uses licensed music, and I don't want to get a copyright strike, so... I already had my problem with using that Kraftwerk song at the beginning of the last flashback, and I don't need that to happen again. So, and then, hey, somebody remind me, by the way, when we switch back to cartridge-based games, that I'm probably going to need to turn down the game audio in OBS, because audio from the CD player seems like it's a bit quieter than audio from the Jaguar. And I just want to watch this intro because it looks like it's probably pretty cool, I guess. No, I did not fire her. She's a good employee, so I keep her around. Yeah, Johnny Cash had some big records in the night. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I think she's just Derek. She's just into different kinds of music mostly. So, and I guess she's French, so I guess but she listens to a lot of American music. So she moved here from France when she was like 2. So she's not that French, although she thinks she is. Anyway, oh yeah, My Name is Sue, Josh. Shel Silverstein wrote that song. I think probably everybody knows that, but Shel Silverstein wrote My Name is Sue, which makes sense because it, kind of comes off like a Shel Silverstein poem. Well, that's some heavy metal music there. Play now. Yes. We don't need to set up an account.
Europe, South America, North America, South Europe, South Russia, Australia, North somewhere in the Pacific.
Let's do
North America.
Let's do North America. See, this is one of these things where so far all the presentation seems really nice, you know? Like, put yourself in the shoes of somebody, you know, like Bithead. Bithead had a Jaguar back in the day. So put yourself in the shoes of someone like Bithead, goes to, like, you know, Babbage's or whatever, and sees, like, oh, there's a new Jaguar CD game, right? And then, you know, brings it home, sticks it in the machine and starts playing, and up to this point, this is the first time you've ever played it, which, like I said, I think this is the first time I've ever played it, you're thinking like, oh, this seems pretty cool, like maybe it's going to be okay. It just makes the disappointment that much more crushing. Derek says, do you like Iron Maiden? Yeah, I think I have one Iron Maiden CD. I just never had the opportunity, I guess, to get super into them. But like Run to the Hills is a good song. I know Bithead's a huge Iron Maiden fan. I haven't. That's one of the videos of his I haven't watched yet. But yeah, I mean, I like that kind of music, so you know, so probably I would like. All right, Jerry says it's not a bad game. Thank you, Jerry, because somebody else said it was horrible. So I shouldn't be taking other people's word for anything anyway. So we're just gonna check it out here. All right, so mission 1. We're going to go do a surprise attack on some people doing a training mission. That seems kind of mean. But let's check it out.
Hornet.
Vinny wants to know, what kind of music do I listen to most? Probably the two bands, or they're not really bands, I guess, but well, one is, but the two artists that I probably listen to the most, like on my iPhone while I'm at work, are Kraftwerk and Depeche Mode. I listen to other stuff. I mean, you know, everybody said, you ask people like what their favorite kind of music is, and you know, people say like, oh, I listen to everything, and I don't listen to everything, but if you were to like look at my iTunes library on my phone, you can see that there's quite a mixture of stuff on there. There's like new age jazz, there's like 80s music, there's like classic, well, not super classic, but you know, like something I really like? I like R&B music from like the late 80s and early 90s. So I have some of that
enemy
on there. I have video game soundtracks. I've got Metallica, Tool, Radiohead, Depeche Mode, like I said. I have every album by Kraftwerk. I have every album from the Beatles. Why am I smoking? What's going on? Yeah, this game isn't as bad. It's not garbage. But yeah. It's obviously more like Afterburner, which makes sense because this is more like. Why are people ramming? It's more like Afterburner, which, like I said, it makes sense because it's like the Lynx game. So, I mean, what else? I don't know. I could just pull out my. I can tell you right now. I don't have everything on my phone that I have in my iTunes library on my computer, but wow, flags flying at half-mast. That's pretty grim. Alan Parsons Project, Alice in Chains, a lot of Alice in Chains. There's like some new age jazz. Got some Beastie Boys. Like I said, I have every album by the Beatles. These are just in order of artist. A bunch of Depeche Mode, like I said. Dire Straits, Fleetwood Mac. Garbage. Nobody that I works with has ever heard of Garbage. Like, they were huge in the late 90s. Good band, too. George Michael. I really like George Michael. More new age jazz. The Gypsy Kings. Anybody here even heard of the Gypsy Kings? All the Castlevania soundtracks, a bunch of Kraftwerk, like I said. Live, that was another band from the 90s. Live, throwing copper. M83, I like that Midnight City song, but that whole album's actually really good. Mad Season, more video game stuff. MGMT, I saw them in concert. They were pretty good. Oh, Modest Mouse. I love Modest Mouse, and so I have a bunch of their albums on here. Morrissey. Because I like classic alternative music. So like the Smiths and Morrissey, The Cure, there's In Excess, all that kind of stuff. Nirvana. Do you have anybody here from Brazil? I have an Os Mutantes record on here. Pantera. I bought their live album right when it came out back in the 90s. And it's a really good album. I see somebody mentioned Porno for Pyros. That was one of my very first CDs. Was a Porno for Pyros CD. So yeah, Soundgarden. Yep, love Soundgarden. Soul Coughing. Well, I like Super Bon Bon because it was in Gran Turismo 2, but I don't think I've checked out much of their music outside of that. Sorry, let me keep going. I have 10 by Pearl Jam. I have the best of the Pet Shop Boys. Who doesn't love the Pet Shop Boys? Pink Floyd, The Wall. The Postal Service, which was like the guy from Death Cab for Cutie with some other people. The Fat of the Land by Prodigy. That's a cool album. I already said I have all the Radiohead albums on here. Red Hot Chili Peppers, although I'm really not a huge fan of the Chili Peppers. I think I kind of made my own greatest hits album and put that on here. Rodrigo y Gabriela. I don't know if anybody knows who they are, but they're pretty awesome. They are they both play classical guitars, but they're really into heavy metal. So imagine what that might sound like. Smashing Pumpkins, The Smiths. So we're already into the S's. We're winding down. Stone Temple Pilots. The Best of Talk Talk. It's another classic alternative band. You don't really hear people talk about Talk Talk that much, but they're a really good band. The Talking Heads. The Eraser by Tom York, who's the lead singer of Radiohead. I have every Tool album on here. Some U2. I have the soundtrack from The Big Lebowski, which is really good. And then, like I said, I have late 80s, early 90s R&B. I made my own playlist. Imagine a best of album, but it has like 50 songs on it. And I made a 90s rock playlist, like alternative, but like one-hit wonder kind of stuff. And yeah, that's about it. And like I said, if I were to go on my computer, then I have a lot more stuff. I don't put everything on my phone just because I don't want to fill up the memory. Just because I take a lot of pictures, so I want to keep my phone's memory. I want to make sure I have plenty of available space. All right. Anyway, that's enough of that, I guess. I see people for the most part seem to like my choices. Like 9 Inch Nails. Like I like 9 Inch Nails, and I have it on the computer upstairs, but for some reason I don't have it on my phone. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not saying Blue Lightning's a bad game, but I already kind of feel like I kind of saw what I needed to see. So we're going to put that game away, and then I'm going to take the Jag CD off, and we'll go back to playing cartridge games. It is just about 7 o'clock, so just as a warning for people, we're going to maybe go for about 30 or 45 more minutes. And then I'm going to have a very late dinner with my wife. Oh, so Sean Moore says Lebowski soundtrack is great. Yes, it is. But one thing that I did to make it even better. So I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the movie The Life of Brian. It's a Monty Python movie. And one time I just happened to find the Life of Brian soundtrack in a used CD store. And that movie doesn't really have much music in it. You know, it's got at the end where they've all been crucified and they're singing "Always Look on the Bright Side of Life," which certainly to some people is in bad taste, and I wouldn't blame someone for thinking that. So instead, what the soundtrack actually is, I'll tell the story while I'm doing this. What the soundtrack actually is just sound bites from the movie. And it's kind of cool because it basically means that you can listen to the soundtrack almost as a substitute for watching the movie, because what it ends up kind of being is just like some of the best scenes from the movie in audio format. And since I don't really have to worry about the length of a CD because I just have the music, digitally, I took the Big Lebowski soundtrack and I rearranged the musical tracks so that they're in the same order that they appeared in the movie. All right, we're good. I just want to make sure that the screen didn't turn red. I put the tracks in the same order they were in the movie, and then I took sound bites out of the movie. I just put the DVD into the drive and pulled a bunch of sound bites from like my favorite scenes, and then I put them in the proper order next to the songs that they kind of went with, and it made a really cool. It made for a really cool soundtrack. Unfortunately, like I said, it's not CD length anymore, but it's pretty cool. Oh yes, someone says don't forget to turn the volume down. Thank you. Where is it? Oh yeah. See, now it's too loud. Right there, I think should be good. I'll keep an eye on that. But thank you very much, Tasty Fish, for the reminder. RC3083. Any late 80s, early 90s hip hop? I don't know if any of the stuff that's on there you would consider hip hop. I think I would consider it more R&B. Although I don't. You can tell me what you consider. Like, name off some songs of hip hop from that era, and maybe I have some. I don't. But if you're talking about what I think you're talking about, then no. Okay. So yeah, like that Biggest Dickus. Like I think that scene was on the soundtrack. I'm not sure. I mean, you can just buy the soundtrack online probably or something. So you can see for yourself, I suppose. All right. So now, as you can see, obviously we have Tempest 2000 loaded up. I don't know for any of you guys who are not really maybe into classic arcade games. Tempest was an Atari arcade game back in, I don't know, I guess the early 80s, maybe the late 70s. I don't know. It was I believe it was a vector. Yeah, it was vector graphics. But it was kind of like pseudo 3D. And your little ship is on like the edge of, I think it was a cylinder, right? Wasn't it just a circle? Well, it wasn't a cylinder, right? Because it was like, but it was like a 15 or 20 sided polygon. But then it went into the screen. And so, like, enemies would be coming up the cylinder or the tunnel at you, and you can move your ship just around the edge of the cylinder and shoot down into it. And so this is just a newer version of the game, Tempest 2000. Isn't there? I think there's a Tempest 3000. I have a Tempest game for the PlayStation, but I don't think it's a port of this. I think it's a newer game, but somebody else can weigh in. Oh, one thing I forgot. I guess I must have cruised past it and not noticed. I have an NWA. I have Straight Outta Compton on my phone too. I don't listen to that one too often, but like if I need to get fired up, you put on some Straight Outta Compton. I don't get fired up that often. I don't know if you can believe that or not. But and then the one thing I'll say just about Tempest 2000 before we get started is that there are people who make a custom controller. So apparently at some point Atari was going to make a rotary controller that you could use when you play this game, but then they didn't because nobody really bought the Jaguar, I guess. So they didn't make the controller, but the code, the required code to accept signals or whatever from a rotary controller are still in the game. And so people have made their own rotary controllers by just getting an Atari controller and pulling out the D-pad and just putting a big knurled knob right there. And then that way when you play it, you can just kind of, spin the knob. And that would definitely be cool to have. This game is not nearly as fun to play with a controller, and I'm not going to really do that well. But but it's a cool game, and so I wanted to play it just because, like, this is one of the games when people talk about the Jaguar not being totally crappy, which, I mean, I don't think the Jaguar's crappy for numerous reasons, but this is one of the games that people always kind of hold up. This and Alien vs. Predator, but Alien vs. Predator, I don't know why anybody really want to play that now, but, I mean, Tempest 2000, why wouldn't you want to play that now? It's got pretty awesome graphics and cool gameplay, so, you know, enough yakking, and let's check it out. Select game type to play, so I don't even... You've got, what's traditional? Is that like an original game of Tempest? Let's try, because then we could do that one for. I don't know if that's what it's going to be. So I don't think I've ever actually tried anything besides the original Tempest 2000, but we'll see. Oh, and by the way, it's got a cool techno soundtrack. I forgot to mention that. Sorry, I'm gonna turn the volume back up just because, like, it's pretty good music. You don't need to listen to it. So basically, you have to push the D-pad in whichever direction you want to move, regardless of where you are. So I don't know how to explain that, but like you're always going to go clockwise if you push left, and you're always going to go counterclockwise if you push right. So it's totally fine. It's just like it might take you a few playthroughs real quick to acclimate yourself to the controls. And like I said, obviously a spinner control would be better, which I guess I failed to mention. In the arcade, originally, Tempest used the spinner control, so that's why they were going to... Alright, now that's too loud. That's why they were going to come out with that. Oh, we got an extra life. Sorry, I'm quiet, but I have to concentrate. Alright, that was pretty good. I thought this was a family-friendly channel. What did I say? Did I curse by accident? I think I did. It's kind of weird just being on a flat plane. Oh. I thought that was a power-up, but guess not. Tempest 4K? What's that on? I want to play that. We do not want to let those live. How do I get that guy to go away? I don't know what I'm supposed to do there. Sorry, I'm just checking real quick. You know, I gotta say that the YouTube chat box really does. It's like I try to scroll up and down, but it's like it wants to auto scroll. It's really a pain in the butt. Oh, Yaka Warmer says, the thing about FPS games on the Jaguar, I think Jaguar, Wolfenstein, and Doom appeal to me more than Alien vs. Predator. So I don't think I've ever played the Jaguar version of Doom. I think I watched Austin live stream it over on Gameplay and Talk. But the Jaguar version of Wolfenstein is a really good. I don't want to say it's the best. I mean, the PC version is the best, I think. Although in some ways, the Jaguar version is better as long as you don't mind playing with a controller, which is how I played Wolfenstein back in the day. I had like a Gravis PC gamepad for my DOS computer. It's a really good version of Wolfenstein. Doom, isn't Doom missing the music in the Jaguar version, or am I getting confused? So I can't say how good it is or not because I just don't know. Thank you, Jerry. There's a Tempest 4K on the PS4 and Xbox One. I should check that out. I need some glow sticks. Yeah, like somebody pop some ecstasy while we're listening to this awesome soundtrack. All right. Anyway, hey, what's up, Electric Relaxation? That's a cool name. All right. All right. So now we're on a V. Oh, I see. There's a special weapon you can use to stop these guys from getting all the shotguns. I just briefly saw somebody mention Spear of Destiny. I don't know what the context, but yeah, I have that game. I actually have. Damn it, I missed the one. I actually have a boxed copy of Spear of Destiny, like the retail release. But I don't even see that guy. But I also I have it on my GOG account, which might be how we. I'm thinking we might, some of the DOS games, I might not play on original hardware. I might just play it on this computer using DOSBox. I mean, DOSBox is actually really good. I mean, is it emulation? Or I mean, I guess it is. Game over? Or do I get, all right, Last Life, and then we're going to move on to the next one. But yeah, I was gonna say Spirit Destiny was a really cool. I don't know if would you call it a sequel? I would call it a sequel. I mean, it had some upgrades over the original, so I mean, it's not really an expansion pack because it was a standalone game. All right, that's game over. Hey, is Ryan back? By the way, is Ryan Rybold or whatever? I think. Oh. No, it's okay. We haven't played Trevor McFur yet. So, I mean, we just got to play a cool game, so now we can play a game that's a little bit less cool. But that was awesome. Tempest is, like everybody says, Tempest is one of the best games on the Jaguar, no doubt. All right, so we save Raiden for last. Raiden's kind of heavy. Maybe not. So Trevor McFur. Red screen of death. All right, so let me. It's funny because I just cleaned this one, but I guess it wants to act up again. So just give me a quick second. Actually, I'll just try it dry here. One thing that's kind of a problem with Jaguar games is they pulled that stupid crap where the screws are underneath the label. So you can't open up the game to properly clean it without ruining your label, which obviously I don't want to do. All right, there we go. Sega Dream says Cannon Fodder is also good. Yeah, I thought about picking up Cannon Fodder for the Jag, but I think that the Amiga version is the best version, so I'd rather just play it on there. Vinny says, as a chemist, I was wondering if you could do me a favor. I assume you're joking. If you're not, let me know. But I guess I probably missed something. Derek said he had the boxed copy of Spear of Destiny back in the way. That's pretty cool. Am I missing here? I don't know. All right. Hey, Chris Archer. Hey to another Chris. Okay, so the reason that I want... let's turn the music back down. The reason that I wanted to play Trevor McFur is it was the only other launch title for the system. So if you went on like launch day and bought a Jaguar, you of course got Cybermorph in the box. And so the only game that you could purchase like separately was this game Trevor McFur. Which, I understand that a lot of people don't like Cybermorph, and I get it. Like, I think it's a neat game, but, I understand that it's not everybody's cup of tea. But, I'm getting kind of cold. But, if you're any kind of a fan of shooters, I don't know who the target audience of Trevor McFur was. It's like a shooter for people who don't know what a good shooter is. So, yeah. So anyway, sorry, I'm cold, so I gotta... Gets very cold down in the basement. The blank blue screen is pretty sweet. Well, that's just... That's what screen you get from the capture card if it's not getting a signal. So is it just blue? I think the old one was black. So, which looked more realistic. I think the blue... See, I don't like that because I feel like it kind of breaks the fourth wall a little bit. Having that blue thing there. But, I mean, whatever. Who cares? Alright, anyway. There we go now. Yeah, Vinny, I figured it was a joke, but I wasn't sure. As a chemist, do you like the channel Nerd Rage? I'm not familiar with the channel, so I don't know. If he does cool experiments, then he's probably cool. But, I don't really watch too terribly much YouTube, to be honest. I have my few channels that I kind of watch religiously, and that's pretty much it. So, one thing I know, I mean, you guys won't be able to see this, I guess, but the plastic around the B button, which is kind of the main button on the Jaguar controller, is like really shiny and worn. So it's kind of cool because it means that like whoever originally owned this system and this controller must have played it a lot. So I don't know. I think that's kind of neat. Like this was a Jaguar that was loved. I don't know. I don't know why, but that warms the cockles of my heart a little bit. Probably, I mean, I got this copy of Tempest 2000 came with this Jaguar, so maybe the guy was a huge Tempest 2000 fan. I don't know. Anyway, all right, let's get started here. Derek saying this game seems almost unplayable. If I was going to describe this game in one word, rather than unplayable, it would be uninteresting. Because I just think the game is boring. And, by the way, the guy that is in charge here has a lion for a head. And what's funny is if you look real close, you can see that is a United States Army, I think, dress uniform. And the person has the Congressional Medal of Honor around their neck, which probably means that the developers just stole a picture of some soldier that had a Medal of Honor and stuck a lion's head on it, which seems like kind of a weird thing to do. But, whatever. Oh, and I saw 1903 TX says, what's on your candy cab? A live stream would be awesome. The problem with that is I don't really have a way to capture footage off of my candy cab. I know you can buy like a JAMA to RGB like breakout board, I guess you would just call it. And then I suppose I could run that into the capture computer. So, I mean, maybe that'd be something to consider just because just because that sounds like fun. But I'd have to look into where I could get one of those things. And yeah, but so as to your question of what I have, I don't really have a whole lot. And I've answered this before, so some people are hearing it again, but you'll live. I have Golden Axe board, Final Fight. I have 2 different iterations of Street Fighter 2. I have the original Street Fighter 2, which was just the World Warrior. Usually I'm not this bad at this game. And then I do have Street Fighter 2. It's not Champion Edition. I have Turbo Hyper Fighting. And then I have a Neo Geo 1-slot board, which we already did a Neo Geo live stream. That doesn't mean we can't do another one. In fact, I think I even said on the Neo Geo stream that we would do another one because there's lots of Neo Geo games that we did not get around to playing. But that's all I have. Arcade boards take up a lot more space because you have to keep them in boxes. We can play again. That was, usually I'm not this horrible at this game, but you can see what I mean when I say uninteresting. Like, you're shooting mostly asteroids, and like that's really not that much fun. And they break up, so you have to shoot them multiple times, which kind of seems like they stole that idea, from asteroids. But then I think also, was it R-Type or Gradius that also did that? And we're screwed. I'm having a rough go of it this time. But yeah, anyway, so that's why those are the only arcade games I have. I'm getting raped. I don't even know what other arcade games I would want. I'd have to think about that. The thing is, like, I don't want to rotate my monitor just because it's a pain with this particular candy cab. Like some candy cabs, like the Egret 2, were made specifically so that one person could rotate the monitor by themselves. But with this one, you have to pull the monitor out a little bit and put it back in, which, I mean, it's not a big deal. It just takes 2 people. And, I don't know, I don't really want to have to do that. So I don't have any vertically scrolling games. I guess if I ever, like, got a good deal, on some kind of vertically scrolling game, like maybe Raiden or something, then I would go ahead and put up with having to rotate the monitor. But arcade games, with the advent of super guns, arcade games have gotten a lot more expensive, and not maybe cost prohibitive, but there's not too many arcade games you're going to get for less than like $100. And something like a Final Fight is going to be upwards of $200. Maybe it won't actually cost $200, but see. And then like here, like when you fight this boss, you get no feedback when you hit him. Like normally in a game like this, if you hit him, maybe he would flash, or there'd be a special sound. And the only way you even know you're doing any damage is if you look up and look at his strength meter, and you can see it very slowly decreasing. And then I don't know if the special weapon doesn't seem to really do much of anything, does it? Or does it? Oh yeah, it does. Well, let's try that some more. If we live. Here we go. Dead. But you see what I mean? I mean, uninteresting, this game. It's just like, Like, why would... if it was like launch day and I brought home a Jaguar and I went ahead and bought Trevor McFur just based on, maybe it looks good on the back of the box, I'd play Cybermorph, and I would not want to play this. So, yeah. Anyway, the second level at least has kind of cooler graphics than the first. So, although not by much. So, you can see it's got those are kind of cool backgrounds, and then there's sort of these stone formations here in the front. This level kind of, can annoy me because it's got like a lot of things that fly up from the ground on top of having to deal with all these enemies, which, to be fair, at least aren't asteroids this time. So now you have so much more stuff you have to deal with. And as you may have noticed, your hitbox is humongous. I think your hitbox is actually bigger than you are. And kind of the same goes for the enemy sprites. So you don't really have to be that close to an enemy sprite to die. And so now we got, that was full on game over, so we used up all of our continues. So I don't want to play any more Trevor McFur. Like I said, I just kind of wanted to show it to you guys. Just because, like I said, it was the other launch game, and you know how I'm all into launch games and everything. So that's enough of that. So I'm going to go back and check the chat here real fast. Somebody suggests, 1903 says, just point a camera at it. I've seen others do it. I mean, I could do that now that I have 2 capture devices, I guess. Only because the one that broke was still under warranty, so I'm getting a new one. And it's an HDMI capture device, which means that I could use my digital my DSLR with it. So that might be something to try, because then I can get the settings all dialed in so that I can record the screen with it and have it hopefully look okay. So that might be just kind of something fun to do. What else we got? Oh, Jerry, you're in Central Utah. That's cool. I've been to Utah. It's beautiful. I've only been to Salt Lake City, but I mean, it was beautiful there. I know you have like Moab and stuff there too, so that's pretty cool. Ooh, someone's here from Montreal. I've always wanted to visit Montreal. And then RC3883, Northeastern Oregon. I think the farthest east I've been in Oregon is like Bend or whatever highway that's on. We got a $5 contribution from Echo, who has a beagle as his avatar, so that's pretty cool. Thank you very much, Echo. I appreciate that. What else we got going on here? I would agree with Bithead, and if this game has the feeling of cheapness to it. Yeah, a lot of Jaguar games have the feeling of cheapness. And as Bithead said at one point on his show, the system itself overall really kind of has a feeling of cheapness, which is too bad, because if I remember correctly, I think IBM manufactured the Jaguar. I don't know if it was made in the USA or not. I don't want to flip it over because it's hooked up. And I don't want to show it, I guess, but the RGB cable for the Jaguar is like a fire hose. Like it's really thick and it's not very flexible. And I don't know why, but I guess that means it's really well shielded. I mean, it has a beautiful RGB picture. I don't know how well that comes through on the stream. And Ryan's back. So yes, it is time for Raiden. I was waiting for you. I didn't want to be rude. And that will be the last game of the night because now it's 7:30. So we're gonna play some Raiden and then call it a night. So yeah, hopefully I didn't miss anybody here. Oh yeah, Jerry says it was made in the USA. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I don't know. It just doesn't weigh a whole lot. But other than that, I mean, it's not like it's cheap plastic or anything. And I mean, I don't know it. And then some people don't like. They say the controller feels cheap. And I don't know. Maybe I'm the wrong person. I don't agree with a lot of the criticisms of the Jaguar. Like I'm not a huge fan of the system, but I think much like the 3DO, I think that it is maligned far more than it deserves. So yeah. All right. So this is Raiden, as I said. And I don't know. I don't know what I need to say about it. I forgot who makes Raiden. I talked about that on the PlayStation launch episode, but somehow that feels like it was 10 years ago. It wasn't Genki. That was somebody else. God, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember. Somebody in the chat will say. I can't remember. So of course in the arcade, Raiden is a vertically scrolling shooter. So, oh yes, Saibu Kaihatsu. That's who it is. Thanks. I just needed a little reminder. Oh, Yakko Warner's leaving. Well, later, man. Thanks for hanging out. You were here for a long time, so that's cool. Anyway, Raiden was a vertically scrolling. Well, it's vertically scrolling here, but it was vertically oriented in the arcade. But most of these home ports don't allow for that. Like Raiden came out on the Genesis as Raiden Trad, which I don't know if that was some kind of home port of the original Raiden or that's a whole separate game. I don't really know. And then of course it came out on the PlayStation as the Raiden Project, and then here on the Jaguar. And maybe I'm missing some home ports. I don't remember, but the way they got around the whole vertically oriented thing is in much the same way that Truxton did. As you can see, they added a sort of status thing to the side of the screen to help cut down the width of the screen, and then they also cut off part of the screen on the top and the bottom. And it's kind of unfortunate just because it really doesn't give you that much of your play field's not very big. And that's kind of suboptimal, but but that's okay. It's still playable. And so that being said, let's play it. Now, somebody else can tell me, or maybe Jerry. Jerry seems like he's pretty knowledgeable there about the. Let's do 8 credits. Pretty knowledgeable about the Jaguar. At least on my copy here, there is no music. I don't. Why? Maybe Jerry knows the answer to this too. I don't know why so many games on the Jaguar are missing music. Because as you heard, Trevor McFur did not have any music during gameplay. But then, like, you play Tempest 2000. And, like, the music was awesome, so I don't really understand what the deal is there. But unless there's something wrong with my particular copy of Raiden, they eliminated the music, which would be kind of a bummer. Give me those missiles. But having played the arcade version, and obviously having played the PlayStation version, aside from the aspect ratio issues, at least in my opinion, this is this is a pretty good version of the game. It's pretty fun. I wish there was music, like that would be nice, but we can't have everything. Now, as I showed in the PlayStation launch episode, even though they removed the option from the options menu when the game was localized for North America, you could still use I remember if it was, if it was Game Shark or whatever it was, you could use a cheat device on the PlayStation that would allow you to play the game vertically by literally rotating your television. So you had to have the kind of TV that was easy to rotate. Like a PVM is very easy to rotate because a PVM has straight sides, and that was done on purpose because you could imagine that in a professional setting there might be plenty of reasons why somebody might have to rotate a TV, like in a commercial setting or something. But a lot of home TVs, back in the 80s, did not have squared off sides. They had slanted sides so that you really couldn't turn it on its side. But, I think I made the comment in that video that, I was kind of surmising that it was perhaps because of the litigious nature of American culture. But, Jerry says press the 0 button. Well, hold on, because I'm between stages here, so maybe that's part of the problem. But, yeah, you're right, Jerry's. The 0 button toggles the music in most games. So, yeah, maybe there is music. How nice would that be? And actually, the game audio is so quiet I can't even hear it. So, I need to Yeah, it's not doing anything for me there, Jerry. So I'm kind of curious, Jerry, if you don't mind me kind of singling you out a little bit. I don't remember ever seeing you in a stream before, and so I'm wondering if it's just the fact that we're doing Jaguar, like maybe if you saw it on Twitter or something. I don't know. It's always nice to have new viewers, you know. So, oop, free guy, or not free guy, bonus. And like I said, you seem like you're extremely knowledgeable about the Jaguar, so it's nice to have somebody here that can bring more knowledge to the table than to be honest, I have. So, so definitely thanks for being here. And maybe you've been here before and I just don't recognize your name, in which case I apologize. I think I like this weapon better. I like the weapons better in Raiden 2. Is there a way to... Actually, you know what? Duh. I have the manual. Oh, Jerry, you watch all the time. You happen to catch me live. Well, you picked a good episode or whatever you want to call it to catch live then, since you, like I said, you know so much about the Jaguar. So thank you. So yeah, I didn't mention I have a bunch of the manuals here. So I want to check the Raiden manual real quick and see what the controls. I mean, I think there's just no music, which is no. See here it says press 0 toggles music on or off. So, but I mean, I'm not hearing it, right? I mean, there's no music. Wonder if this game is... Maybe my cartridge is messed up a little bit then or something. I don't know. Maybe... I don't know. Well, that doesn't make sense. I was going to say maybe it's some kind of weird thing that I'm using the Pro Controller. So like, you know, on the Genesis, some games don't like it when you use the 6-button controller. See, we're far enough into the level here that you don't... Well, we're on level 2, I guess. You really don't want to be this far into the game and be as underpowered as I am. Well, now we just got... Come here. Oh, all right. We needed that. Oh, dang it. Hey, Fire Rescue's here. What's up, dude? By the way, Fire Rescue, you know, when I showed my wife your package, which I know sounds dirty, but you know what I mean. I mentioned that you were a firefighter, and she was very impressed. It got quiet. So yeah, I mean, I don't have another controller down here to try, but I mean, I just, you know, you never know, right? Like, wow, I'm really getting my butt handed to me. That was like the slowest moving bullet to get killed by. This guy won't die. Finally. Wow. Derek says Tempest 2000 is his favorite game from tonight. Yeah, I would say the same. Oh, Jameson, I have a TV flip to watch while in bed. I just use an iPad, and then I prop it up against a pillow. But certainly what you're saying makes more sense. Oh, hold on. I want to see what he's saying about Dave Bladegun. I doubt CGR Mark is watching. Yeah, I doubt that too. So I'm going to speak on his behalf, and he would be right, and point out the Jaguar does not have Musha or Truxton, which really brings the system down a few notches. Well, Oh, Adam says, your sound settings save on this game. You should try accessing the sound options menu and seeing if music is set to 0. That sounds like a good idea. So yeah, soft reset with the number pad like a pro. I don't remember there being an option. Where is there an option? Yeah, there's no options menu. Unless, is there an options menu that I can... Sorry, I still got the manual open over here. Oh, wait, what if I... Does the options... Oh, there's an option button, but that does nothing. Let's check this out here. There's the B button. There's... Okay. It says, while in pause mode, which we're in, you may change the volume of the music and sound effects. Press the A button and move the joypad left or right to change the volume setting of the music. Maybe that's the problem. Oh, look at that! That's wonderful news. That's very strange. But thanks, Adam. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have checked that if you hadn't said anything. So, so thanks. I appreciate that. And then is the... Yep, sound effects. So, all right, I got it. All right, so now the music and the sound effects are both set to full volume. So now we're ready to go. So sorry we started... I soft reset the game, so we're starting from scratch. But it's not like I was doing well anyway. So... And yeah, Derek, it is beyond intuitive. Like, why doesn't the game just have a normal options menu? But I mean, whatever, I guess. I think, you know, I feel like they put in a number pad, so it's like, well, we got to use it for something. See, now we're getting our shit powered up a little bit more, so that's good. I mean, I guess that's the case. I was going to say, you know, that makes this game a lot easier, but I mean, it's kind of the case with all shooters, isn't it? I mean, if your ship's not powered up, you're really kind of screwed. See, and for this, it's like you really want to try to kill this guy before his buddy comes out, like that. Alright, see, we're doing a lot better now. The music makes a difference. Which, at least to me, doesn't sound half bad. So, I'm trying to go back. The Tempest soundtrack was my favorite part of the game. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's just a good game. You know, including the soundtrack. They use a ton of the screen for the score, number of lives. Yeah, but that's just how they make up for the fact that they're giving you a 3-4 game in 4-3. So, and then I saw. This is strange for any game made beyond the Intellivision. I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of cool that it has a number pad on it, to be honest. It's just like I don't have the overlay for Raiden, so that's probably not helping. Although you don't use the overlay to do what we just did. And then Fire Rescue asks, I just bought an original Master System, do you know if the EverDrive has the FM chip built in? It doesn't. So I don't know if you have a Genesis Fire Rescue, but what you should have gotten, and you can still get one, is you want a Power Base Mini FM, which is from, I think DB Electronics makes it, but you can get that from Stone Age Gamer. And that will let you play Master System games on your Genesis with FM sound. If you get the Power Base Mini FM, because there's also a Power Base Mini made by the same people that doesn't have the FM chip in it. But I think the only way that I know of to play games with FM sound on your Master System is to mod the system and have that Yamaha chip added, which you can send it off to somebody and have them do it. I can't imagine it being too terribly expensive, but I'm not really sure. Anyway, but that's cool that you bought a Master System. Like, I have a Master System, even though I have a Power Base Mini FM, just because the Master System is a sweet system. So, Derek says, now you feel like you have a whole game here. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like, it didn't feel like a whole game without the music. So, yeah. Why would the previous owner turn the music down? That's what I'd like to know about it. Dave says, if you enjoy Raiden, make sure you try Fire Shark on the Genesis. Yeah, I have that game. Fire Shark, I like it. Fire Shark's a little bit too easy, just because I think you can really power up your ship pretty quickly so that it's like circus powerful. And I think that's a little bit, it's kind of dumb, but it's a very cool game anyway. Like, I like it. Like, there's nothing wrong with the game being easy, because you go play Truxton and it really gives you a rough time. But so playing a little bit of Fire Shark is a nice respite from that. And then Vinny says, does a score panel on the right exist to give the play screen the proper arcade aspect ratio? Yes. And Ice-T says, the Master System has a sexy, sleek design. Yeah, somebody said on a podcast, and I can't remember what podcast, when they were talking about the Master System's design, they said it reminded them of a control panel from Star Trek: The Next Generation, which I thought that was pretty true. Oh, damn it. So yeah, I agree with you. I really like the design of it. I mean, you have to, well, you don't have to admit anything, but like, in my opinion at least, if you look at the Nintendo, the original NES, and the Master System, at least in my opinion, the Master System looks way cooler. I just think that, the NES has better games, but which is too bad, because I think the Master System certainly had the potential to have better games, but it really never got to realize its full potential. I mean, really, if you're willing to import, there's some awesome Master System games from Europe, like Master of Darkness, which would be cool to do on a live stream, actually. I really haven't played that much Master of Darkness, so aside from the fact that I would probably suck at it, although I kind of suck at most games I play on live streams, it would be fun to do. Maybe for, like, oh, are you kidding me? Maybe if we do like starting to hit the fan here. Maybe if we do like a Halloween live stream this year, which, I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't. Come on. Nope, I don't want that. Man. It's so hard when the ship is going so slow. Yeah, I didn't want that. Anyway, we already did a Master System stream once, but I mean, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm just saying I would love to do another one. I mean, it's nice doing all these different consoles, but, at some point we're going to kind of have done all the consoles, and then we're going to have to start repeating. Which, I mean, who cares? Alright, so now we're going to get to the boss who wouldn't die. So I'm just going to bomb the crap out of him. Every time you die, you get like 3 new bombs, so it's very convenient. See, it's just too much. I feel like the game assumes that... I wasted a bomb. I feel like the game assumes that by now your ship must be powered up. Because I'm sure that if we had like that nice spread shot, we probably would have taken care of that guy no problem, you know? I think Fire Shark is the spiritual successor to Sky Shark. They were both made by Toa Plan, so probably. Oh, Eric's here from Vallejo. That's cool, man. I don't know. Sometimes we have a guy who watches the show from Winters, in which case he's probably the closest. But I don't know if he's here tonight. So if not, you're the closest. PC Engine is my favorite looking system. It is a very cool looking system. In fact, I have mine right over there. Duo R is 2 round. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, like a loaf of bread. Yeah, I get the reference. I agree, though. I have a Duo R, but as far as the way it looks, I'm not a fan. And I don't really use my Duo R anymore since I have my PC Engine with that ODE on it. Although, just because of the way it's RGB modded, I think I get a slightly better picture out of my Duo R. This game... Oh, you're hearing all the tapping? I think the game does have auto fire, but I feel like you can fire faster if you use your thumb. But yeah, this controller is kind of loud, so I can imagine that might be annoying. Jameson's taken off. Thanks for hanging out. Says his battery's dying. That's too bad. I should play Friday the 13th for the Halloween stream. Yeah, maybe. I don't. Is that a good game? I don't know. I feel like some people say it's good, and I've read some bad reviews, but I mean, I'd be willing to kind of check it out. What's going on here? Oh, there we go. I'm still learning how to use Windows 10. So yeah. Ice-T says, I must say the PC Engine interface briefcase unit is on par with the Sega Genesis Model 1 with the Sega CD in terms of consoles with add-on attachments. Well, I'm assuming you mean that in a good way. Because to me, the Genesis with the Model 1 Sega CD is awesome. And I feel the same way about the briefcase unit. It looks crazy good. Oh, creative, it wasn't annoying? Well, it's just funny when you said that, because I was already thinking, like, man, I hope this doesn't sound annoying. But I'm glad it wasn't actually annoying. What is your least favorite console that you've played? Well, so... it depends on your criteria, I guess. I mean, in terms of like game selection, you have to say the Jaguar is pretty far down there. But I really can't stand a controller on the ColecoVision, and it ruined the game, the console for me to the point where I got rid of my ColecoVision. Which probably sounds kind of lame, but it's true. I don't know. I mean, other than that, it's like... that being said, I wish I had not gotten rid of my ColecoVision. I miss it. But I don't really know. I'm probably the wrong person to ask. Just because, like, I really love video games. Like, I love bad video games, just like I love good video games. I like the red-headed stepchild systems, like the Jaguar. I think it's part of the reason that... that I enjoy my show, like making the main channel, is that I just like talking about video games, and I like to give the crappy video games, their day in the sun or whatever. So, I know that guys like the Angry Video Game Nerd sort of exist to get angry at games and to bag on them and like, oh, this game sucks. But, if you really watch my show... you'd have a hard time finding me ever really bagging on a game too hard. And I'd say that maybe the exception to that is if you watch the launch of the PlayStation episode, which, as I've said many times, I think I was trying just a little bit too hard. That was obviously very early in the channel, and I'm not thinking. And I was trying a little bit too hard to be edgy. And so then I think I said a couple of not nice things about some of the games, like Kill Leak and Total Eclipse and, Mortal Kombat. But, you notice I don't really do that anymore too much, just because that's not the kind of content that I want to make. But it really is a more accurate reflection of how I really feel. I just like checking out games. And so, to me, like, even look at that. Even a bad game console, to me, is interesting to check out, because it's like, oh, it's bad. Like, why is it bad? What's bad about it? Like, I want to check that out too. Like for instance, like the CDI. Like, I've never had the opportunity to play the CDI, and people say how like that is a system that sucks. And okay, well, maybe it does suck, but like, why does it suck? Like, I want to check it out. People don't like the 3DO too much, but I think the 3DO is awesome. So, why don't I have any bombs? Oh, because I ran out of them, that's why. So I have my little pea shooter here, so... So I guess that was a really long-winded answer to your question, and I apologize for that. Jerry says, when is the Dreamcast episode? It's still not going to be for a while. I've got other content that I'm also working on, and so yeah, I mean, I don't... It's going to be the next launch episode is all I can tell you. But I have other... Aside from magazine read-throughs, I have another long-form episode for the main channel that I'm working on. So, and that one's probably going to come out before the Dreamcast episode. It just depends if I get... Because what happened was I got sick of working on the Dreamcast episode, and so I switched to working on this other episode that I don't want to say what it is. But what may end up happening is that I might get sick of working on that episode and then go back to working on the Dreamcast episode. So, Fire Rescue says the Analog Mega SG will be awesome to use with the Sega CD for streaming. Well, I'm going to get my Genesis back with the Sega CD, and they're both going to be recapped. So, I mean, I'm just going to use original hardware probably to do that stream, just because I don't really have a reason not to. Plus, I have a Model 1 Sega CD, which I know, you can still physically interface that with the Mega SG, but I think it would kind of look weird. And I could always just go ahead and buy a Model 2 Sega CD just to put with the Mega SG, but I don't really see the point. I mean, so I haven't messed with it. I know that on the live stream last week, somebody was telling me that there's other FPGA cores for the Super NT, and so if they come out, which I'm sure they will, if Kevtris comes out with other cores for the Mega SG, you kind of have to assume that one of them is going to be a Sega CD core, in which case maybe you could just put ISOs on an SD card. Now, I don't know for a fact that any of that is going to happen. Like, I'm totally just talking out of my butt right now, but I'm just sort of surmising that. That's the second time I used the word surmising in the last 10 minutes. I'm just kind of assuming that that's going to happen. So I'm probably not going to waste money buying a second Sega CD system just for the Mega SG. Although I know Corey did that. Corey already bought the Model 2 Sega CD just in anticipation of getting the Mega SG. But, that's because, they're going to do a video on the console for their channel, much like I believe they did with the Super NT, and I think they even did one with the original Analog NT. Maybe the Retro AV, or the AVS? What is it just called, the AVS? I don't remember, but that's the kind of content that they do. They'll do hardware reviews of stuff like that, especially because something like that is going to be of interest to people who want a game on HD displays. But as I've said before, you know, I'm just really not into doing hardware reviews, and I'm kind of trying to stop doing it. Like, I haven't done an EverDrive review in a long time, and I feel kind of bad just because they sent me an EverDrive that I was supposed to review, and I never did it. But to be honest, a lot of the EverDrives that I did review, I paid for out of my own pocket, so I kind of don't feel that bad. I mean, I feel kind of bad, but they'll live. And you know, I did the review of the I forgot the name of it, this PC Engine ODE. I don't know why the name flew out of my head. You know, I agreed to do it, and so I did it. And I kind of, you know, if I had my choice, it would be the last hardware review that I do on my channel. And it's weird that I say that because, of course, I do have the choice. But you know, maybe something else will come along, and I'll want to review it. But you know, I mean, like if you look at the views that PC Engine ODE review got, it was pretty bad, and which is okay because that video didn't really take me that long to make, like maybe one whole day or something. Which for my channel, that's quick. So I'm not complaining, but I don't really enjoy doing them, and I don't think I do them often enough that it's like, you know, one of the defining features of my channel. So I'd rather just stop doing it, you know. Just plus, you know, it's not just that, but I also just feel like it's a little bit weird. And listen, like I've taken a lot of things, not a lot of things, but I mean like. The PC Engine ODE, I didn't pay for it. I got it for free to review it, and I got to keep it. And you know, you can say it however you want, but in some ways, that's being paid to make a review. Like, you know, if you go watch like camera review channels, those are loaners from the company that they have to send back. And but like, I got to keep the EverDrives that I reviewed. I got to keep the ODE. I'm probably thinking of something. I'm probably forgetting something else. But, you know, I'm not sure about the morality of that. You know, it's like, how can your objectivity not be tainted when, you know, you are given something that you get to keep that if you weren't given that thing, you'd probably want to buy it. So anyway, I don't know. I'm not going to try to act like I'm some kind of white knight, and that's why I'm not doing it anymore. But it kind of is part of it, because I just feel like it's not good optics. And there are other channels that do a lot of reviews of, you know, free stuff that they're sent. And it bothers me when they do it. And so for me to do it too makes me a hypocrite. And so for that reason, I kind of don't want to do it anymore. Anyway, seems like the chat's kind of winding down, although I think there's still kind of a lot of people here. But it's now 8 o'clock, so we went past how long I said I wanted to stream for tonight. So I'd kind of like to stop, just because I'm getting tired and I still need to cook dinner. So yeah. Oh yeah. So I was going to mention. So I already said, for anybody that's here now that wasn't here when I said it earlier. The 5:30 start time is probably going to be, I guess I can switch the view back, is probably going to be the start time for the live streams for the, like I said, the foreseeable future. Just because it works for my schedule and for my wife's schedule. So, you know, for those of you, if you're on the West Coast, maybe that's too early of a start for you, and I totally get it. But that's why I upload the archives. I noticed that I think more people watch the streams via archive than get to watch it live. So, but you know, they're always going to go until about 8 o'clock. So I mean, it's 8 o'clock West Coast, so now it's like 11 o'clock East Coast. So hopefully people can catch at least some of the stream. I just mentioned the Sega CD, as most of you probably know, because I mentioned it in a previous stream, and I know I've mentioned it on Twitter. I sent off my Model 1 Genesis and Sega CD to Mobius Strip Technologies to get recapped. And, I mean, they didn't give me a discount. I'm just mentioning them because that's who I sent it to. and they said it was going to be about a 2-week turnaround, and they received the unit or the units exactly a week ago on Tuesday. So if if it takes the full 2 weeks, I will not have it next Tuesday. Like theoretically, they'll put it in the mail next Tuesday. So so we wouldn't be able to stream the Sega CD next Tuesday, but we should be able to stream it 2 weeks from today. So assuming everything goes according to plan, the tentative schedule is going to be that we are going to stream some DOS PC games next Tuesday. I haven't decided which games yet, so we'll see. And then we would stream Sega CD. Somebody says Sierra Nevada Halo. Yeah, it kind of looks like it. And then we would stream Sega CD the following week. And I see that Dave Bladegun says that Mobius Strip does excellent work. Yeah, that's cool. This ended up being a lot more expensive because I sent it to him, only because he's very far away, and the Sega CD did not go in a flat rate box. Although, I could have split it into two. Like I could have taken the Genesis and put that in one flat rate box, and put the Sega CD in a second flat rate box, and it would have been cheaper than sending them together, which is kind of unfortunate, but this way these are very well packaged, and I'm not too worried about it, just because I paid for it with show money, so that's what the money's for, and so I want the job done properly from somebody that gets good reviews from people. Yeah, he's in Ohio. And I want the system packaged properly. I sent it in a pretty big box with a huge cocoon of bubble wrap, and it's about to disappear. I just want to say thanks to Pops Doban for the contribution. I was just trying to finish my story before I said thanks, but it's almost off the screen for me. So thanks, Pops. I really appreciate it. But stuff like that, like he donated $5. That helps pay for things like repairing consoles. So I appreciate that. So yeah, anyway, I got to figure out what games we're going to stream next week for DOS PC, because I don't really want to stream games that are kind of ahead in the timeline from stuff we're talking about on Flashback, or it's going to create some weird problems. But it won't be a problem. We have some stuff that we can play, and then I also have to figure out which Sega CD games to stream. But I got some pretty good games, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. So all that being said, that's going to do it for tonight's live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed checking out some Atari Jaguar. I said that we will probably, well, not probably, we will definitely have to, play consoles over again. Like, we played the Master System, we're going to play it again. We've played Nintendo multiple times. We've played Genesis multiple times. I seriously doubt that the Jaguar will make a repeat appearance on CGQ Live, just because I don't know what other games I would really play. I mean, if I got a copy of Rayman or something, that would be cool. I'd have to look into it. Maybe when I get the flash cart, maybe there's some cool games on the Jaguar that we haven't checked out yet. So maybe yes, maybe no. And then Creative wants to know, which Sega CD games I was thinking about for the Sega CD. Well, Ice-T said it, Android Assault. I might want to check that one out. I do have that game, I think. The Terminator is a cool game. We could check out the Sega CD version of Final Fight. I don't really know. Again, I have to go through my games and see what I've got. I have a bunch of games, especially loose games, which I know people don't like loose games, but I don't have a problem with loose Sega CD games. Thank you, Daniel, for the contribution. I appreciate it. Jerry Cox says Iron Soldier. I'll keep it in mind. I mean, just if I ever say I'm going to do a Jaguar stream again, mention it, because I have Iron Soldier. We could have played that one tonight, in fact. And then Joshua Dilly says Leisure Suit Larry for the DOS PC. And yeah, that reminds me, I actually was thinking about doing a playthrough of a Sierra title. I wasn't thinking Leisure Suit Larry, but I was going to do Gold Rush. but we could also do Leisure Suit Larry. I was also thinking about having the guy from Friday Night Arcade come back on the show, just because he is really into Sierra Adventure games, and Aaron, and so he would be a cool person to have as a guest on the show, because then he could probably also help me with a walkthrough. But I think he'd have a lot of interesting comments. And we haven't had a guest on a live stream in quite some time. And I know that Friday Night Arcade is a smaller channel, but I think he makes really good content. And at least in my opinion, he made for an excellent live stream guest. I really enjoyed having him to talk to. I think we have similar personalities too, and so that helped. So yeah. Oh yeah, and the Jaguar homebrew scene is pretty active. I don't have any homebrew games, but that would be cool. Ice-T, thank you for the contribution. And all right, so anyway, that's going to do it for tonight. I'm going to go ahead and stop. And Jerry, I've tried to get Bithead as a guest. If anybody else wants to work on him, go ahead. I've bugged him too many times. I don't want to be a pest. But maybe if enough people pressure him. I feel like at this point, he seems to not want to do it. Maybe that means he wouldn't be a good guest. I think that Bithead, I told him in an email, I think Bithead would be a hit if he started live streaming. Like, with the personality he has, he would be a great live streamer. And maybe he'll start doing that. I don't really know. But I don't know. Maybe he really wouldn't be a good guest on somebody else's live stream, and maybe that's why he doesn't want to do it. So, why twist his arm? So I'd rather just be a fan and enjoy his show. Daniel says, can you do a playthrough of Revenge of Shinobi, the one with Spider-Man, Rambo, Godzilla, etc.? Yeah, I have whatever the earliest ROM revision is of Revenge of Shinobi is what I have. So that would be fun to do. I agree. I didn't realize we had never done a Revenge of Shinobi stream. But yeah, that would be fun. I don't know how to say your name. Woby Draggled says you're not a Bithead fan. Yeah, he's an acquired taste. He's not for everybody. I get that. A lot of us like Bithead. I've shown Bithead to some people, and he wasn't their cup of tea, and that's totally understandable. So I just say that. I mean, shoot, some people are not a Classic Gaming Quarterly fan, so there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, at some point I have to stop talking, so that's going to be right now. I will see you guys again next week. And so thanks for watching. Last thing. I said this on Twitter. I'll say it again. I'm intending, if I don't get too sick, I am intending to upload another episode of Flashback and have it come out like on Sunday morning. So that, because I did an episode, I think it was the Genesis Collection episode, or maybe it was the PlayStation Collection episode, something like that last year, and I uploaded it on Super Bowl Sunday, so that people had something to watch who didn't want to watch Super Bowl. And I got a bunch of comments from people who did exactly that, and enjoyed the fact that they had something to watch instead of Super Bowl. So I'm going to try to do that again this year. But if I'm trying to not get too sick, I don't feel too bad right now, and I'm taking my vitamin C. So hopefully, if I'm not sick, then like Friday or Saturday, I could go ahead and record that and upload it. So anyway, that's the last thing I had to say. So thank you very much to all you guys for hanging out tonight and watching me poorly play a maligned console. And thanks as always for all the contributions. And as I said, I will see you guys again next week. So good night, everybody.